Just gonna go.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good
It's time
morning. Good
Cuppa
morning.
Grata. Welcome everybody to Spirituality Gone Wild. We are here with an extra shot of expression. We have an extra shot of expression. We've got 3 squirts of reality today.
Right.
Seriously. Welcome Ryan Keys and Keri. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my love. Good morning, Ryan. Thank you so much for getting up so early, you California folks. I just love you.
You think I got up? I just never went to bed.
Oh, see, there you
Right.
go. That's me too.
So,
I'm a little tired this morning.
welcome to Cuppa
I don't
Grata.
sleep.
I have my
I have coffee on IV.
Yes.
here's my coffee on
But
Ivy.
see,
Here we go.
here's the thing. Well, I'm also I have live on. So anybody watching live on my Facebook, or if you
I
see
have 2
this, go to
cups.
the link, and I'm live somewhere else. Love you
Absolutely.
Oh,
all.
fantastic.
I'm going
Fantastic.
to, and what I'm going to do is play Amos Lee, Windows Rolled Down. I'm just going to play it through the speaker so that we can have everybody share really quick, and then I'm going to introduce our darling Ryan. You guys, upbeat Buddha's in the house.
Upbeat
And
Buddha.
here's my cup of grata. It is it's from Costco. The cup.
Oh, I'm digging it. Look what my son got this one from me. It's really cool.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love that.
Isn't that rad?
That's nice. I have a regular mug, but for some reason I just use I used this one today.
Everybody
Amos
coming
Lee.
on. Amos Lee.
So do you see chat from people? Oh, sweet Lord. You do.
Yeah, you can
Hello,
totally
people.
see chat, and you can see comments, and you can interact a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
I can try.
Well,
I know.
It's like
Yeah,
that friend.
it's not always an exact science. So good luck.
I'm attempting to share it and play music at the same time. You know, I am not like I'm not the queen in multitasking anymore. But that's all right. I give it my best. It's maybe because I'm supposed to be present in the now, not multitasking.
Yeah, I try to be in here pretty much all the time.
Okay, you know
And,
what?
and the secret is you cannot hit the volume on the live video.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
exactly.
I was like,
Exactly.
ah.
Oh,
I did the same thing.
just like I just did. Okay. All right. Good morning. I want to take just a second, and I'd like to share who that this awesome person is that just got this message from this strange lady and said, "Hey, I really dig you. Will you come on on with us?" Ryan Keys, and I had it ready. I wanted to actually read this, and
Oh.
yeah, you know something. We roll here just how we roll. There are no rules.
It's
Spirituality gone wild. Total. And spirituality with a spin. Spirituality with a spin.
Spirituality with a spin. And there's a new one coming too, because I'm going to start a Dr. Renee. We did the interview last week, so we're starting another show. Yeah, it's going to be about sex and spirituality.
That's how that rolls. You want to?
Wow.
That's how it rolls. Yeah.
Okay.
Both of those are very meaningful to us.
They are very meaningful to us.
They are.
People
I mean,
often think you can't have one without the other.
Right. I have an acronym.
Not really. Well, you can have lots of spirituality without sexuality. However, I think the volume of information that you can gather from life would be enhanced if you had that beautiful bond. It's like
I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I completely agree. I have a great acronym for sex.
Uh-oh.
Sacred, euphoric, Xanadu.
Nice. I was just thinking delicious.
Well, it's funny. A guy wrote in my high school yearbook, and I've never forgotten it. And his name is Chad. We'll just leave it at that. I won't tell his last name, but he wrote in my high school yearbook, "Sex is evil. Evil is sin. Sin is forgiven. So sex is in."
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I've never forgotten that. He wrote that, a while back.
That is awesome. I'm gonna share a little bit with everybody about who this wonderful human being here who's gonna have this awesome show coming up. That sounds so exciting. He is, let's see, mission is to put the soul back into soulmates and help you find the love you that you seek. At the age of 21, you went through a near-death experience due to a horrific accident, which crushed the right side of your face. As a result, you had 9.5 hours of surgery, and this is where you found a new place of being. So the struggle was very real from the moment that you were shown the other side, and it erased, but this erased all doubt that there was an afterlife for you. And then the events and things that you saw on the other side colored a new way of seeing life. This intuitive insight is what has helped you, and it's been your drive to help people. That at first it appeared to be a bit of a curse. And you know what? The curse is me screwing up your entire bio.
Right. You did? I didn't notice. It's too early. I'm not proofreading in the morning.
Okay, God. Okay, so you've studied many types of religions, ancient arts. You're constantly seeking to improve yourself and your insight, and you've been doing this for the last 15 years, giving intuitive advice and counseling to thousands of people. You have a lot of new great stuff coming up. I know this last year has been dynamite. You have put out some of the most valuable, empowering videos. So I am personally grateful and honored that you're here, and thank you so much. What a blessing you are. So tell us about you, Ryan.
Thank you so much.
Tell us about me.
Yes, tell us about you.
Well, I think the easiest phrase is there's that phrase, keep it simple, right? And the other phrase that I really, really enjoy is that Einstein said, if you can't share it with a 6-year-old, you don't know it yourself. So for me, I always thought of myself as a 6-year-old. So I was like, let me find all the information that I can as a 6-year-old. So the easiest way for me after my accident, I think, was just to sit patiently and kind of get downloads from I call it God, whatever anybody wants to call it. Even when I did my other side experience, I had a complete, full on, what would have been possibly 5 to 6 years event on the other side. I was there for that long on the other side. And it was great. It was really, really moving. It was kind of like, do you remember the series with Scott Bakula?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When he would like time travel and he'd be thrown into bodies?
Yeah.
Where did I miss this?
It was I don't know. It was on for like 12 years, right?
I'm not a TV person. Never have been.
I'm not now, but this is back when we were like in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So he would time travel, but when he time traveled, he would end up in somebody else's body. Right.
Okay.
So on the other side, that's how it was. I was having this first person, third person perspective experience with different segments of whether it was history or life. And it was really, really intense. It was pretty cool. So after that, I decided that, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, just tell us about that experience. Like, what did that look like for our minds here in this moment? Like, how can you explain that for folks that have never had that kind of experience, don't really know anything much about it? And like, what did that look like?
Well, I mean, the thing is that and I call it like, it was a release, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because everything about how my body is right now or before it's constraining. Like before I had that event, you know how like you feel like you're kind of looking through windows, right? It's like, because there's a part of you that your senses aren't seated, because like you don't feel with your fingers, you don't see with your eyes. Everything happens here in the mind, in the brain, in the being. So, but that was complete connection to senses. It was like there was no separation, It was like I was everything and then one thing. I actually I walked beside. I call him Yeshua ben Yosef because it's Jesus, right? So I walked beside him at different points and different segments along his journey. And we talked.
Gosh!
I was there next to him, and he would stop and speak to me.
Wow!
Like stop the event and then turn and say, "Did you have a question?" And I didn't say anything. He would acknowledge me, and he wouldn't speak, but he would speak to my heart. So it was really interesting. And so I had that wonderful experience and that's how I knew that even Jesus, if you want to say ascended master or son of God, whatever you wanted to call it, call him, I felt that energy, and that's how I got to know him personally on that level, was through the other side experience. And then
goodness,
I got a perception into the reality of life. I sat down on the beach with a 12-year-old boy, and he was an Indian boy, and behind him was a man with a beard, and we were watching this sunset, and he was talking about how life is like the sunrise and the sunset. He said, but the funny thing is that we believe it to be this way because of our perspective. We sit here on earth and we see the sun rise and set, but the sun never moved. Neither does your life. And I was like, wait a second. So only in my mind am I dying and being reborn. But the being never is like the sun. The being never set. It never rose. It's always been. And funny enough, flash forward like it's 2004, after I broke my back. I was hanging out in Ojai. You know Ojai, right? You've been, if you're in California, it's Ojai. It's like this vortex, like kind of sacred place, shamanic, all these other things. I went to this really cool place. It's called the Crotona Center. It's a library and a little school. And it was just a peaceful place. I sat down in the library and I see the picture of the little boy on the wall.
No way.
He founded it. Yeah, he founded the place. His name was Jedi Krishnamurti. So then at that point, everything became realistic, right? Because before I was like, okay, because everyone will tell you that you don't see anything on the other side. It's just these chemical things on your brain. And I never believed that, but it was a struggle to try to find in myself that fabric to like kind of build like my belief system that no, it happened. And once I saw that, and then I saw him as a man, and then I heard his voice on YouTube, because you can YouTube him, I was like, wow, that is the man. So, and he was also a very enlightened person that brought a lot of knowledge to the world. And it was funny. He goes, I pass you the candle to take into the cave. That's why I say that. Like when I say I'm just a candle in the cave. He said he handed me this candle, and he goes, here's a candle. And when you walk into that cave over there that seems like it's completely dark and scary, even the smallest flicker of light lights it up completely.
Yes. Absolutely. Spark the G vibe. Damn. Well, so, okay, right? So I'm getting like all excited because spark the G vibe is your gratitude vibration, but I without your dark, you wouldn't know your spark. And I freaking love that, because absolutely you can see any light in the smallest little spark.
The smallest form.
This is what the empowerment comes in, knowing we are the spark.
Correct.
So you help.
It's just like when you see the dark, when you go outside in the dark, right? You feel safe in the light, but it's the same situation at night.
Yes.
But if you think about what he said as well, the sun rising and setting is how we perceive life, but the sun never went anywhere. Well, that means there was never any dark in that sense. Because as long as you understand that you are present all the time in the place where the sun never sets or rises, the dark doesn't exist for you.
Oh, that is so deep. That is huge.
Right.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I kind of had an experience recently, and I was talking with Debbie, and she kind of helped me through it, and some other folks, where I had like this complete gratitude moment where I was just sitting in prayer and just being grateful and just resonating with the things that were around me and just having joy of them being in my life and in my path. And just extreme white light came around me, and I had my eyes closed. And even with my eyes closed, I had to turn my head. Not only did I turn my head because it was so bright, but there was just a humbleness like I've never felt before. My heart was just absolutely overflowing. And the only thing that I heard in the prayer was, you don't have to be anything. I am. And as quickly as it came, it left. And so it's kind of like what you were talking about. For me at that moment, I needed to have a big luminous light to say, woo, woo, hello, hello, hello. You're not insane.
No, you're not. Well, okay, I'm a little.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. If the world is normal, I would rather be insane.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right? I mean, seriously, when you look around, and you look at the world, and you look at how the world is living right now, the label of love is strapped on everything, but the essence of love is far and few between. It's very
That
interesting.
was beautiful. The
Yeah,
essence
it's like
of love is far and few between. That was really, that's breathtaking.
yeah. It's like John Lennon says, we make love behind closed doors, but we commit acts of violence as if it's entertainment in the open.
Correct.
So yeah, totally.
Right. Well, that's the one thing, and I've lived in a lot of different places in the world and experienced a lot of travel. And when I went back into this experience of near death, the love that I felt in that experience on the other side, traveling in this perceptive world with alongside of Jesus, when I felt that, there was such a brotherly love that was beyond brotherly. It was like a love of all things. And just to be in the essence of that moment, it gave me such like I didn't need answers to a question. And that's the thing that we always think about on the
Yeah.
other side. You know, I'm going to ask this. Well, what
Yeah,
is
right.
this? But
Like,
when
right.
you have this purity of love just seated
Uh-huh.
next to you or with you, that's all we're really all asking for.
Wow.
That's all we're asking for. We're asking for that connection, that intimate connection of soul. And and that's why I created the community, right? Because when we are
Yeah.
able to bridge this gap, it's about support. Because if everyone's fear comes from insecurity in a lot of ways, if you're grounded and you're spiritual and you feel fear still, it's insecurity of your situation.
Total.
And if you have a support system that doesn't ask anything from you, that sits there and listens and will be there for you, you've already found a place where security can resonate. And
Yes.
it gives us the opportunity to start to shift our conversations, right? Like this, we're
Absolutely.
having an open conversation,
Yeah,
which
it's
is necessary.
totally necessary. And one of the things I really appreciate about you and the things I've been listening to is that, you don't come through, you're not, we are our own guru. You're not coming
Okay.
across. Yeah, we are. It's empowering each other and lifting each other up and boosting each other up. And I love that you also provide such a fabulous start to this with your mirror work that you provide at no
Isn't that rad?
charge. Dude, I'm like,
It's
oh
rad.
my God, man. I was sitting there going, like, you kick ass in so many freaking ways. It's insane. And with I was like, oh my gosh, and a gratitude meditation. So like I
It's
was
intense,
just
isn't it?
serious. I know it is freaking bomb. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm loving what you're doing. And the Divine Love Academy is just kick ass. I haven't had a chance to like dive in and
Right.
meet people yet, but I can tell you Divine Love Academy is seriously on point. Bringing us together as the collective and empower, and a place to empower one another, lift each other up, but mostly to show up for people the way that we want. If you want, I always say, and what I practice to the best of my ability is to show up for those as I want people to show up for me. I want to be that for you.
Be the person you need.
Yeah, be
correct.
the person you need.
Be
Absolutely.
the person you need. Yeah. And that's self-love. And it also brings me into another thing, your book. I want you to talk about that, but also the things that you talk about with twin flame and soulmates, because you have a very unique perspective on this. And
I've said a couple of times, I'm the redheaded stepchild of the twin flame world.
oh, okay.
Here we are.
I believe we have a lot. I think we have more than one, but I don't know why we call these twins to break it open.
If you want to break it seriously down, we're only one.
Let's go. Thank you.
We're only one.
There you go.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, think about like in the sense of, so what the essence of love, what is love in most aspects? The base root of love is liberation.
Absolutely.
You're being liberated from fear.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're liberated from feeling alone. You're being liberated from excess. You're being liberated from needs that are outside of love. So if love is liberation, like when I posted the word manifest yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. That it's basically, it's people coming together and celebrating. That's what manifest means. To manifest means a group of people come together and celebrate. So when you liberate yourself, you can celebrate, and it's like a revival, right? You can come together and you can be one. And becoming one is the essence of the sun situation that Krishnamurti said as an example. We've perceived our own separation. It's been sold to us over and over. And the thing about the twin flame or even a soulmate is that it does drive separation because you're looking at someone fulfilling a need that's already been done. The love is already there.
Exactly.
The level of love that you need in your life does not have to be provided by anyone else. It exists inside of you. And that's why I always tell people, you are your own guru.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
the answer to every question you have is in the question. When you ask the question, like let's try a little example, right? So I just say or and these are the base roots of language as That's how language developed, was through sound and phonics, right? So if I ask you, do you like cheesecake?
Uh-huh.
Right? Yeah. Do you like peanut butter?
Uh-huh.
Do you like beets?
No.
No. See, there's do you like the beach? Do you like love? Do you like have a broken heart?
No.
I get it. But so when you start thinking about things that are negative or things that are separation, it's going to slow down your answer because you're going from the heart is like immediately jumping out. So if you do that back and forth with different things in your life and you say, to yourself, or have a friend that you trust ask you a series of questions. And what happens is you disengage the mind and go back to the heart because the heart answers very, very rapidly.
It's kind of like the episode from Friends where Phoebe and Joey are talking and Joey can't decide whether to go on this trip or not. And she just rapidly asks him questions.
Exactly.
And he spits out the answer without thinking about it.
Correct. It's exactly that.
Instantaneous response.
Tied up. We're trying to connect logic to love, and it's not possible.
Oh yeah,
because love is illogical. Right?
Yes,
it's completely freaking illogical.
But the beauty is so are we. We weren't designed to sit here and just logically bathe ourselves in BS. I mean, we're not. We're designed to come together.
But I got really good at it. Let's face it. Okay, there was a point. I was a freaking pro, man. I still can be pretty good. You know, I love the awareness that I'm at today, and but right now I have to take a moment and say how grateful I am. Your words are powerful. That was such that tool that you just shared. I hope everybody just we've got ahas going on. We've got aha already.
Right?
You're a freaking rock star, man. I mean, seriously, talk to us.
You know, here's the thing. I'm nobody. And I say it over and over. I'm nobody, but I'm somebody to me. So I'm only like the sun. I'm just one. I'm the same as you. There's no difference. I just listen very attentively. Because the voice that's talking to me talks to you. And it's not even a voice, it's a sensation. It's a feeling. And it's speaking to everybody.
Yeah.
But like you when you watch TV, it's television programming. They're programming it out of you. They've disconnected us. The main thing that I think if anybody was if they want to do that exercise, take your shoes off and go outside and ground into the mama earth. You see, because the earth is alive, right? The earth is alive. Everything around us is alive. The planets are alive. And these things, and we've been given such a gift, but yet it's undersold. I mean, if we don't do this right, we don't have the earth. And,
exactly.
and it's time that we stop being a bacteria and a virus on the planet and start being a gardener like we were designed to do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And stop using fear as our tool of security.
You know, and that happens like I'm going to be 50 in June, and I know a lot of ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
It's better. It means you're here.
Exactly. Proud to be here. And I see a lot of people in a hurry to be in relationships so they don't die alone. And they compromise. And compromise for me in relationships, I want to meet somebody right where I'm at, ready to go. Let's engage. As soon as I meet you, you meet me. We plug in and we take the world by storm. And all too often we accept people in our lives under the guise of being loved, or you made me feel this way or that way. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about when you're getting into the relationships and you've got this first 6 months of unconditional love where the little things are so cute and you think, oh, that's so cute. But then like 6 months in a day, you're like, oh my God, he's getting on my nerves. I cannot stand that. Oh, he's driving me insane or she's driving me insane.
Socks on, I call it the socks on the floor in the farting phase. You're like, did you just fart? Oh my God.
Right.
Where'd the car? It's like, it's been 6. You're like, oh, the 6-month alarm went off. Time to leave.
6 minutes and 1 minute, right?
You know what? Honestly, Joe Rogan has like the best. I don't know if you guys have ever seen. It was like 2006. Joe Rogan did the stand up, and he was talking about dating, and he's like, the first, dude, have you seen that by chance? Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Seriously, it's all right. After 3 months, you know,
I got
where's it going? After the 3 months, I'm just rolling like, oh my God, really? Seriously, I've been that girl.
Well, it's like even the first 6 months, the bathroom door's always closed, but then after that, it's like wide open. Like it's like, whoa!
See, I never changed. Like I was married to a gentleman for 15 years, and he never once heard me fart. Not once. He never heard me fart. He never heard me belt. That's for me personally, though. I'm funny about that. If you're not going to do it in front of a stranger, if you're not going to do it in front of a total stranger, why are you going to do it in front of somebody you love? I don't feel like you should relax.
But let's flip the coin. Did he hold on to that same protocol?
Yes, for the most part he did. Yeah, until he got sick.
Okay, good. Then you got lucky.
Yeah,
I've got 2 boys, man. That's just I gave that up. I was the oldest of 4 girls.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I was in for shock factor having 2 sons, and I still am. And they're one's going to be 30 in July, and the other one's 26. And I'll tell you right now,
sticking up like alfalfa.
Between the dogs and my boys and my granddaughter, sometimes it's like, oh dear God, who just came in the room? I mean, like they're really just. I mean, it's just that's just part of life. But you know what's funny about that is that when it's that transparency, though, the things that we're taught to be shamed about are the things we're taught that are natural. And I know that we're discussing flatulence and farting is freaking hilarious. I mean, that's just a fact. But the fact, I mean, seriously, and men are even funnier about it though, because like they sit and like rate their shit. Like, you know, you get that one? Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys are freaking correct. I just listen to my boys. I'm like, what do you guys need, a chart? I mean, seriously. But you know, what I last night I was thinking to myself when it comes to relationships, because I study emotional intelligence and I combine gratitude with it because that's how I practice this. That's my practice right now, and boy, do I just practice, right, and practice, and I get lots of.
It's all practice.
But it's
even when you go to the doctor, right? It's a medical practice. They don't even know what they're doing.
No, seriously. And so it really is. But I was thinking, I speak alien. If I've discovered that out in the world, that dating and I feel like I'm always an alien at this point. Because when I'm speaking to somebody, and if they're let's say not awakened, or if they're not practicing the same way of communicating, I sort of get, they kind of look at me like I'm not normal. Well, actually, I lose them in the conversation.
But we're looking at things, and again, and not to go back to my near death, but like he said, sitting on the beach, you see a sun setting and then a sun rising, but the sun never went anywhere. So it's like imagine you're walking around with a radio, right? And you're playing your song that you like. When you walk into a room, if I walked in playing like LL Cool J, you know, like, or like, you know, something like that, because I grew up in the ghetto.
But if I walk around and play that, okay.
Oh yeah, I was hardcore, and that's why.
Are you serious? Like, oh no, like Warren G.
What?
Like Warren G.
Oh no, like Easy E. Easy NWA, Cool Mo D. I was in the Wild Wild West.
Bone Thugs, man. Bone Thugs and
right? That was it. Exactly. Oh, wow. Exactly. I was like the most vocal I got was Lauryn Hill. I was like, wow. I'm gonna listen. I was like, and it better have some rap in it. I mean, even if it's, you know, it's like that's how I was. But when you are walking into the room with that radio, if I came in blasting Easy E at old folks' home, they're gonna look at me like, get the hell out of here. So we're walking around we're playing a song, right? So as we're playing that song, some people will not want to listen. And the beauty of it is if your song is singing to you, you just dial it down a little bit and keep listening, and they can go and listen to their own song. So that is actually a perfect way to move through what you need to do, because your resonance and where you're sitting is actually it's your security. It's going in front of you, paving the way, right?
Yes.
Love is leading you. That's when I say like love leads you. Love is leading you. It's like little breadcrumbs of where you're supposed to be. So you're walking through the crowd.
Wow.
Anybody that doesn't want to hear your song, they turn the other way. They're going the other way, because it's really cool. It's like being invisible to some people, but being right front and center to the rest.
Right.
And it's your power in the world. It's your place in the world, because you get to pick and choose in a way because of the way you're resonating. You just have to resonate a little louder, and then people can hear you that want to be next to you.
Exactly.
And so let's I want to clarify. I mean, because being louder, I don't have but when we're talking about our energy, our vibration resonating in our love, in my love factor, and in my my desire to be the best version of me I can be, so that I can now be the best.
Are, actually.
Yes.
Well, I said yesterday, it's the key of me. It's the key of me.
Key of me.
I'm singing the song in the key of me. That's
exactly.
Just...
And in the language, the one thing that I've worked with most people that I've gotten is our language. We've been conditioned. That's why I say to be your true self, not your best self. I've said it before in the past, and I think it was just inherent to the programming. But there is no better self than you already are. What the issues you're dealing with weren't given to you. You were nurtured into these issues. You started out as that HP computer, completely clean, operating smoothly. It was the programs that people installed on your hard drive that have cluttered the system. So you still have an operational mechanism that's pure and clean. You don't have to be anything better. You just have to clear the board and begin to resonate as your true self.
Oh my God!
Exactly. Yes.
The screen.
Can we have fireworks for that one?
The cheek. That's like sparking vibe all over the
place. Spirit fingers. On that one.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. I just want to like
everybody's
go into the world. Oh, I know, but like joking around, just like.
Oh no!
In this day and age, when we are basically picking out who we want to date or who we want to spend time with, like we pick out a fast food meal. Oh, I'm on Tinder or whatever. I'll take a number 7, or I'll take a. How do we stand out and find that twin soul or that person that we resonate with when the world is like, okay, here's my picture. Oh, my teeth are still good. It's like you're selling a used car or an animal. That's what we've dialed down dating and interaction.
It's programming, and then it's like John just asked. He talked about EFT, and yes, I do EFT, John. Now think about it. Okay, imagine yourself as the computer first. Let's because we want to clear the board so that you can start being present and seeing the people that you need to see, and that you be seen by them. So if you are the computer, like your laptop, what do you do when your system stalls? You hit Control-Alt-Delete twice. You're hitting buttons though, right? So like John had mentioned EFT, there's other practitioners that like I met a wonderful, beautiful chakra activation ascended master. He's awesome. And so he activates your chakras to a level that helps to clear that programming, but also EFT. So I can tap, and while I'm tapping, I'm resetting my system. And then this is like hitting the Control-Alt-Delete. I'm fresh, clean, and clear. Everyone who can see me can see me. You can do it. No, there's all points. There's here, and if you're subtle and you're just waiting to speak to somebody, you can do here. No, I'm just kidding. But no, you can hit the heel of your hand. And I have people do this too that are afraid and nervous and going on a first date, right? Because you're resetting the system, because your brain is cognitive. So you have a little tunnel in between both hemispheres. And we've spent so much time operating in the logical side. We've missed the imagination. We've missed the part of us where our soul is really active. And like the science has conditioned us yet again. Oh, you only use a certain percentage of your brain. Bullshit. You use your whole body. That's like you only use one chamber of my heart. Or no. And this is another lie that's perpetuated, right? It's another lie. You hear this over and over. But when you see a brain scan and you see them looking at the brain, the whole brain is like when they did Deepak Chopra, everything was lighting up. I didn't see like one little tiny spot lighting up. That's bullshit. It's another lie.
I love it.
So you program it and you start doing, I'm fresh and clean. I'm clear. I'm ready to be seen. That's what I say. Cause I'm like, I'm rap. I flow. I have to get into the flow. I'm
my God.
Clean, ready to be seen. I'm just gonna like, ready to be seen. And then I walk into the room. Exactly. You know, it's kind of like the theme of the show. You know, it's like, and so, and you start doing these things. When you start resetting some of these things, everything starts to take care of itself. The flower doesn't have to fight to be bloomed, right?
Right.
And the flower doesn't compete with anything else. And I love the terminology of the difference between a flower and a weed is you.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because so what we're doing is, and we're also programmed with our logic to believe what's going to be good for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I loved eHarmony. I worked for them for quite some time. eHarmony, you didn't even see who was soliciting you in the beginning, right? It was an email. You saw a picture in the email in the top corner, but you got a conversation first because our eyes lie, right?
Oh yes, they do. And we put that fakery. We put that best picture. We remove our wrinkles. We suck in the fat. We make our absolutely. I'm a photographer.
Right?
So like
our eyes lie.
I'll make Marilyn Monroe.
And then also think about it like this. So when you're looking for love, when you're going out looking for these people, if you're looking from the place of your mind, you're never going to have a happy heart.
No, that's true.
Your heart should be looking. Right.
Yes,
and that's why even in my book, I said putting the soul back in soulmates, because you got to recognize and get the ignition of the soul that's inside of you so that you start looking from the proper place. And one of the things I say, I go, you're not going to serve dinner on a dirty plate. Right.
Oh,
come on over for dinner. And you're like, what the hell is this? it's like somebody, it's like stay at my house. This man's been slept there. Somebody.
Right. Exactly.
You know, you're going to have it all ready. You're going to have it nice. You're going to be centered. You're going to be in. And that's the problem. A lot of people are still, even practicing some spirituality, they're still seeing the sun rise and set. They're not understanding the whole. And it's not that they need to right now, but now that you've heard it, investigate it. Right? Now that the seed has been planted, water it and see where it takes you. Because there's another layer, there's another level to what you're seeing because you're only looking with your eyes. And this is the third eye activation. That's why when you activate that third eye chakra, when you start activating your crown chakras and all the other chakras, and there's a lot of misunderstandings with that. So that and when you start looking at that, you're turning on the ignition to your car. You're ready to drive. But until you started to realign and get that centered energy, you're kind of seeing things that you've been sold. So when you put down your profile list, when you're posting things that you think people will like, you're not posting who you are. When you post that picture, you're posting what you think people will like, not what you are. So you spend so much time not understanding that the person in the mirror is you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's still a separation, and even with mirror work, that's why I dive in deeper. Like when I walk along with people doing mirror work, it's completely different, because when you look at yourself in a reflection, there's a disassociation still. Because like I said, your eyes and you're using your mind to process this beautiful energy that's around you. And the energy is what will make you feel full when you're in a relationship, when you want to look for that other person. So that's how you set yourself up. You start understanding the and you go through that. You get to the meat of it. You get to the part of you, the heart of you that says, I'm seeing with everything that I feel.
Right.
Because you want the feeling of love, not just the title, right? But so many people are so interested in the title. Like, let me post. This is my Ferrari. I got a 6-figure job, but I beat my last wife. It's like
exactly right. Exactly, yeah.
Right? That's true.
It's like, because they're not understanding that love that you're looking for. You got to be it first.
Exactly.
You don't have to love everything about you, but you got to start operating from that place.
Absolutely.
And it's you know.
Yeah, and then you want that person that believes in your dream as much as you do, regardless of how far-fetched it is. When you find someone that resonates with you and that can look you in the eye and say, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
in, man, let's go. Like, I'm grabbing your hand,
Exactly.
let's go, let's take off. We'll run to the edge of the cliff and we'll jump together, and we're either going to soar or we're not. So,
And they're ready for you. They're waiting for you, and you're probably progressing around the same pace. And once you understand that, they're going to be right where they're supposed to be. And
well, that's
that's
where the
the
divine yes comes in too. The divine yes comes in where I know sometimes I'm guilty of that, where I'm just tired and I've been on the road a lot. I've been out and about, and I have to go into a lot of bars and different things because I'm a rock photographer. That's what I do, and I don't
Right.
necessarily always like that environment. So I don't normally go unless I'm working. So when people invite me to go, I started to have to realize that that person I'm supposed to intersect could be there, and if I don't go, I'm not opening myself up to that possibility. I mean, no
Right.
harm, no foul. What's the worst that could happen? If I have a bad time, I go home. If it's not for
Exactly.
me, I just turn around and go home. But it's just, I think we get
Exactly.
complacent in not making the effort anymore. Like, it's like, what's the point? I've had this and this and this and this, and it's just owning up to, I take full responsibility that I got in a relationship with a person that was not for me, that was wrong for me, because I was told I needed to be married, or I was told I needed to have kids, or I was told I needed to do this. And now we're in a world where we don't have to do that stuff anymore. We can start authentically saying, this is who I am, this is what I have to offer. And you either want to come get a slice of this life with me, or you want the whole pie. It's completely up to you.
But the thing and the beauty of it is everything that has happened has brought you here, and there's no other place where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
Because right now is exactly the pace of where your life is. So I think when you look at it like that, you bring your power back. And that's when I do a white room meditation where I have everyone that's taking your power come back, sit down in front of you and sign the contract that the deal is done and that you're moving forward, and they're giving you your power back because we've left it along the way.
It's about like forgiveness too. Like forgiveness.
Well, it's not even, I don't even know that it's about forgiveness, because forgiveness would imply that we could change it if we hold on to it, and we can't. It's more about acknowledgement, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I mean,
like forgiving myself for making those mistakes.
Forgiving
like
yourself,
myself, yeah.
Yes. But the other person, we really don't have power anymore.
No, we don't.
If you look at the power of the situation, so if you pull your power back into you, now you're fully complete. And then once you recognize and you say, well, everything is supposed to be this way. Like my face. There's a documentary that if people are watching, Eduardo Garcia, I talk about it a lot. He had a horrific electrocution out in the woods of Montana, lost his arm, lost 30% of his muscle mass, but it saved his life. He had prostate cancer.
Okay.
Stage
Wow.
3. Had he not been electrocuted, he would have died. Okay. When I had my face crushed, the whole right side's titanium. Had I not had that, number one, I wouldn't have crossed into the other side. Number two, I wouldn't have made amends with my father who abused me. Number three, I would not have been there before he died 6 months later.
Wow.
So he would have never gotten exonerated in his heart and soul, which he really truly wanted. And he was drunk. So what he did at that moment was a direct product of his nurturing as a child. So I was able to go to the other side, sit with all these ascended masters that were there, understand what they were talking about, come back and operate in a place of being able to give him that love that he needed. And he gave me that love that I needed so that he could go on. And then he moved into a different phase.
Very beautiful.
So,
my goodness. Wow.
And then the rush, the race, right? The rush and the race to get what you need now.
Yes.
But you're not going anywhere. We live in an etheric eternal world, but yet we put this expectation of time on it.
Right. For someone like me, I want to be to the next level. Like, I get bored easily, and so like I'm bored with this life, and so sometimes I want to be in the next one, or like trying to get ahead, or trying to like, all right, this one's done, I don't want to do this anymore, what's going on, what's next? And I guess the biggest lesson I learned is the appreciation of this now, this moment, this very moment, what it's creating for the next and the next and the next and the next.
And even if you just like imagine for a second that, like I was saying, like your eyes don't see, your fingers don't feel. They provide the sensation that's registered in your mind. Well, how do you know that the time that we're experiencing is even the time we're experiencing? What if we're speeding it? We can speed it up or slow it down by our perception. What if it's just informational input? What if it's just data?
Right.
What if to slow your, why if that, like when you see someone that's lived 106 or 116 years old, right? What if it's how they're inputting the data? It's not because there's no reason why they've lived that long. There's no reason why George Burns could drink gin and tonic and smoke a cigar at 98 years old and stand on stage still as coherent as a 20-year-old. But it's how he's inputting the data, right?
Makes sense.
So it's a huge thing because now it's not a race. It's just you're here, you're on pace, and it will unfold, and it will be freely unfolding if you allow it from that place of love.
Oh yeah, once I opened up to certain things in my life, I mean, people will say all the time, you're so lucky, you're this, you're that, or whatever. But it was really just being open to the experience and saying the divine yes, and just saying, okay, I don't know why I'm supposed to be here or what's supposed to happen, but here, let's go. Let's have a party. Let's have a good time. Cue the music.
Right.
And jump in, right? Just jump in. Oh yeah, it's huge.
Music is huge, right? I mean, I'm here for a dance party, period.
Totally.
I'm like here for a dance party.
Seriously,
that's it.
I mean, that's it right there in a nutshell.
That's the only thing I'm here for.
I am absolutely. She's okay. Like, let's just do that. I learned to I went to Gary High School in Pomona, waiting to get into Western Christian in West Covina.
Nice.
I grew up in Diamond Bar, and so they didn't have a high school. So I went to Gary. So like I was in Pomona going to high school. Can you even like see this right now? I get off the bus. It's like, oh, this rich white bitch is getting off the bus, right? Total thought my ass was in trouble, and I've never been in a fight in my life. I'm scared shitless because I am like such a wuss, and. Oh my God, my last name's Garcia, I think, and I'm like, well, that saved my ass,
Right.
but I learned to dance. I learned to dance to the Freak, to Midnight Star. You guys remember Midnight?
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Star Point. I mean, all this hilarious. Yeah. So dancing, yes, it is a dance party, darn it. But music that's what Keri and I connected on the music vibe. This is like how we roll. Music is everything. And, it just speaks through us, but I believe that we are music. I believe that nature is music, and we are the divine. Completely. And we're each our own melody, and our own melody, which we learn how to, we practice and learn how to tune our own instrument and create that beautiful sound. And when we are doing this, like we're doing right now, we have this beautiful harmony of souls collectively. And so really, that's kind of where it breaks down for music with me. But dancing, I mean, dude, that's it right there. Break it out. Right? Let's just, break it out. Stop we're not in that thing that we thought we were in. Break it out and be who you truly are, and be okay with that. And I know that it's okay.
We're celebration,
Celebrate, yes.
We don't celebrate enough, right? It's like, and that's
really
why I love
like
some of the third world cultures that are more connected to the earth. They are. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Mexico or Costa Rica or anything like that, but when I was living in Africa, when you get into the belly of it, these cultures are connected, and they are up till 3 a.m. dancing. I mean, when they have a party, whenever there's a reason to get together and have fun and listen to music, they're doing it, and then they're doing it all night, and it's like loud. I mean, they're not shy; they're plugged in. But yet we get stuck in this proper phase of how everything is supposed to be, and we deaden ourselves.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll have to say here at the Cracker Box Palace. Is what we call my little place here, because it is the Cracker Box Palace. It's always music here. There's always someone here. Like last night we were playing Vinyl Lottery, and Vinyl Lottery is where I just run my hand across my record. Someone says stop, and regardless of what the record is, we have to play it. So we went from Ringo the Fourth to Ry Cooder to free Nelson Mandela, to My Father's Gospel album, to I can't remember what we ended on. Maybe we ended on Led Zeppelin. I can't remember what we ended, but it was like it's just like for me, I know food and fellowship and music and having this big quilt of different patchwork. Like each person is a different piece of fabric, different style, different size. And that music is the one thing that's the thread that sews this all together, and I just love it.
Well, and think about this. Imagine so you know how they have a Burning Man and all these other things. Imagine if there was a huge group of people that got together that are that they are becoming aware of who they are, and they got together, and it was a music festival of uplifting music. That's not like, because you remember I always say you are what you eat, see, say, do, and listen to. So it's an evolved music that's going to be bringing you to a higher consciousness. And it's like 1,000 people got together. It's like a huge love fest. Then what's going to transpire is you're going to meet a lot of people, and your opportunity is going to shift. So, and that's the beauty. Like I posted that word manifest yesterday. What does manifest mean? When you're trying to manifest change in your life, so many people separate themselves, and they're only focused on the flat plane, the 2D of a vision board, right? So they're looking at a picture of what somebody already took, and they're trying to manifest that something that isn't alive. There's no energy there. So manifest means come together in a group and celebrate. So if you're trying to change your life, it's about coming, like the community, divine love. Come into the community and you lock in, you live, you liberate yourself, and you celebrate. And that's the secret to really, that's why Tony Robbins, I think, is so successful, because he brings so many people together, and it's a celebration. He gets, he's not my cup of tea or cup of coffee, but he does he's effective at what he does because of the energy he evokes.
Right.
So
we were talking about a concert. Like if you think about just going to a concert, any show you've ever been to, and there's 20,000 people there or more, and you're from all different walks of life. You've had every different experience. But for that 2 hours or however long the concert is, you're all focused, one accord on this one thing. And there's just joy and love and happiness. And it's such a wonderful feeling. Like I want to feel like that all the time. You know, that's what we're trying to do.
And that was the whole point of the 60s in a way, but then they distracted themselves with drugs, because that's a distraction from the actual, the real high that you get from connecting with with your inner God knowledge, right? It's a distraction. It's still like the pacifier for the baby. It's not the bottle, it's the pacifier. You're not getting fed. You're just getting what is that? Okay, it's like just hold on to this until the real thing shows up. It's like, so, and the real thing is when you can get into that space, and that's vibration that doesn't require, like the way I always say, when you can get into the vibration that doesn't require libation, right? Mm-hmm. When you can get drunk on love instead of having to rely on an outside source. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's happened yet. I know that, because there's still a lot of fear that's propagated, where people need that courage that comes in a bottle, right?
Yeah, liquid courage.
Mm-hmm. 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 But it's evolving. It's changing. It's changing.
I agree. It is. I want to take just a moment and thank everybody who's been here in chat. And I know we've had some questions. Ryan, you've got questions in here, but we're running. Are you short on time?
No.
Are you, Keri? How are you doing?
I'm good.
Well, we roll how we roll. Do you want to go for a few more minutes, dude? You're good.
It's all up to you. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm good too. Okay.
I've got about 16 more days. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna sit here. Yeah, you can take a shower break. You can come back. You can dinner break.
We're not going
anywhere.
I'm double fisted. I got my LaCroix. I've got my LaCroix sparkling water, and I got my coffee.
I know. I brought 2 cups.
A zebra cup. Nice.
2 cups.
I brought 2 cups. I knew it was going to be good. It was a 2 cup.
Serious business.
Wow. Oh, holy mackerel! Like literally everybody. I apologize. There were like literally almost 300 comments. So I'm going to say you guys are rock stars. Does anybody have a pressing question?
Well, I know that Ludmilla. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
About awareness.
She asked about what's the difference between acknowledgement and forgiveness to you.
Yes, I did see that.
I thought that was a great question.
That is a fabulous one.
Who wants to answer that one first?
You.
It's my turn to interview.
So the difference between forgiveness and awareness.
Debbie's like,
So the difference between forgiveness and awareness?
Acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement. Okay, so acknowledgement to me is a mindful practice. When you acknowledge, when you become aware of something. Forgiveness is that's where you acknowledge it, but forgiveness is a state of acceptance. Mm-hmm. So that's when I look at forgiveness and I look at even acknowledgement. I'm also looking at it, how that is this do I need to learn from it? where do I need to learn from it? Where do I need to grow from it? The acknowledgement comes in. The difference between the two is one is feeling as though there's something to fix in the first place, or there's something wrong. Forgiveness comes in like this hurt space. If you think that I personally feel like I have the choice between what hurts me and what doesn't, what I need. The forgiveness thing, that whole word, I'm acknowledging something's broken. And so I kind of have a thing there. Acknowledgement is a state of awareness for me. It's being in the forefront in the mindfulness and coming from my state of the frontal lobe versus my reptilian brain.
Right.
So that's when I look at forgiveness, it's something for self. It's something I've perceived as needing. So I kind of, I'm really forgiveness. I've had so many experiences, you guys, with this word forgiveness, and whether I've needed to give it or I feel like I've needed it, that I've gotten to the point where it just is. And accepting myself for where I'm at fully and being okay with who I am. No longer did I need that. So the acknowledgement came in that I was perfectly divine in my being where I sat. The forgiveness factor is another holding on to old experiences for me. So it's grasping and holding on to those experiences that no longer serve my best and highest good. And that's kind of where I come from that. So, I mean, that's just an off the cuff kind of thought.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Spot on.
Just where it's just my perspective.
Yeah. Well, like for me, acknowledgement is the why of the situation. Acknowledgement is, this is not conducive to me and my lifestyle. This isn't beneficial for the greater good. This isn't beneficial for my higher self. So for me, the acknowledgement is, there is this thing. But to me, the forgiveness is being able to move on with your life when you don't have the answer for the why. That was the bit, like, I felt like a grown up when I realized I don't have to have a why. I don't have to know why he broke my heart. I don't know why I did this to him. Or I don't know why I did this to that person, or why they did it to me. It's surrendering and letting go of anything that is going to keep me from my higher self. And so I acknowledge that this thing happened. Not only that, but then I forgive myself and just move on with it. And if that forgiveness is in that person too, I can forgive them. I can just love them from a distance, whether they know it or not. I'm going to resonate that forgiveness to them, and maybe they feel it, and then they can take it and do something on with their life. It's not about a right or wrong. It's about, for me personally, I resonated. I got a result. I take full responsibility. I move on with that knowledge, know not to do it again. And I treat others as from that knowledge standpoint. And I just love how it's constantly taking us. That's a step to my next, to the ladder, to the higher self. And that's just what it is for me. So your turn.
So what I was going to do is that, so the interesting thing is, when you look at, and this is the geek in me, right? So just to give us a basis of how we've been programmed with words. F-O-R-E, it is basically, it means come before, the position, being in front of, at hand, available. It means, so if you look at, so if I'm putting myself before, if I'm being at hand, if I'm coming from a place that's operating, going forward, or, so like before, so I'm here and going forward. So for, and then give. So I'm saying that I am moving forward by giving. So it has nothing to do with the actual incident that happened. It has nothing to do with the person that hurt you. So to forgive means that I've experienced something that shows me what I need to give to counteract that feeling. So it's really misplaced dialogue, right?
That was beautiful.
So it's
Holy
forgiving
cow.
is an act, right?
Yeah.
Forgiving is an act of forward action by giving. You're giving that away. If someone hurts you, they don't resonate with you.
No,
So many times someone hurts us repeatedly and we try to hold on to that. But to forgive means to go before and to give, to advance, to push forward and to give them away, right? Because if you can't find common ground, you're giving away the situation because you're giving it back to God.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm forgiving, it's an active action of giving to all, giving and moving forward in a way of giving. So it's literally, and we consume it selfishly. Oh, I got to forgive them. I got to forgive myself. So forgiving yourself, right? Where it's a selfish consumption. So, but then it disengages us and it separates us further. And the idea is to manifest. We want to come together and celebrate. So then that means the easiest way to forgive someone is to let it go, get together with people that you love, move forward, giving to them, and it acts as itself.
Right. And all I can see in my mind is like
turning the other cheek, right? It's the turning the other cheek. How do you turn the other cheek? You don't turn the other cheek by holding a grudge. You don't turn the other cheek by believing that someone needs to say they're sorry.
No.
There is no sorry because it's to see that someone if someone needs to pay me an apology, and my contact and my consciousness rides on that apology, then I'm limiting my level of love, not theirs.
Right? Exactly.
So if I'm moving forward giving, and then that's why I said acknowledgement. So I'm allowing knowledge to become the basis of how I see it. So it's a situation that is giving me knowledge about someone else and interaction about myself. And I'm loving that knowledge because it's brought me to a higher place.
Right.
I'm actually celebrating that event.
God, I love
if they hurt me, that's why I said break my heart, because it means I was there in an act of love.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather have it ripped out and thrown against the wall.
I wasn't loved, right? I wasn't allowing love I was limiting love. So break my heart all day long, but you can't break it because my heart is eternal. It's not bound by the body. My heart is time and space. It's infinite. So if and this is the thing that I say in the book, if people are searching for the twin flame or the soulmate, whatever it is, but once you realize you have to connect with the soul inside because then you're not searching, you're singing.
Yeah.
Right.
I have this cartoon,
if you're singing,
this cartoon image in my head of a golfer. Forgiveness.
Yeah. Give. So you're hitting the ball.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm a graphic designer. You know what? I'm gonna have to do that.
Nice.
Forgiveness.
I mean, my wand. I have this wand. I mean, it's just like, you want to see my geeky side. I carry a wand. I sit around with a wand in my hand. Actually, just so
I don't know what you want. I don't know what the purpose of that. You're waving. I don't know what's going on now.
It's my selenite. It's my selenite wand. You know what? It's like my
holding up something that could be.
I just have an egg shaker. That's all I.
She has an egg shaker. I have a wand.
My egg shaker makes me happy.
What do I have? I feel left out. You know what I have? I have a GPS.
There you go.
There you are. Now
you shake your egg. I got my GPS, my Garmin GPS that helps me go trekking in the world.
I love that. So can you please tell people how to get a hold of you?
Yes, please.
RyanKeys.com, right? Or I created the Divine Love Community, right? It's just divinelove-community.com. You can go to Amazon and just type in Putting the Soul Back in Soulmate. And that's the one thing I wanted to say too. It says conscious dating, but dating doesn't stop because you're married.
Amen to that. Thank you.
And the reason why divorce is so high is because dating stopped, right? The date, if I had the ideal situation for love, I want the date that doesn't end. You remember the movie with Ethan Hawke where they went on the date in Paris and it didn't end? Isn't that what you want? That dance of love there's no limit on it.
I want to play.
So this book helps that, right?
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with the fact I want to play. We want to play.
Exactly. We want to play.
I want to playmate. I'm not looking for I want to have fun and I want to playmate.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to play in this world, in this sandbox? Because my sandbox is like cool as shit. I've got some fun stuff, and I want to join them. And I want to invite everybody over to our sandbox because it's like so much fun. So,
and that's one of the exercises I have people do. Is it's called find a sandbox, build your sandbox, find a place where you can play. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I have them instead of a meditation room, I have them make a playroom.
Absolutely.
Like a room that inspires imagination, because so much of what we're being force fed is limiting our potential, right? Yeah, they don't want you to be the greatness that you were designed to be. I mean, we're the most wonderful initiated form of a mechanical system known to man. There's nothing higher. There's no computer higher. There's no satellite higher than the operating system that we have.
Correct.
And I want to get your concept on this, and this will freak you out in a sense when you really think about it. When I say a phrase, the warrior starts in the womb, right?
Oh yeah.
Imagine for 1 second as a pregnant mother. So you don't see with your eyes, you don't feel with your fingers. It's processed in your brain. So you know when you are backing up your phone or you plug a hard drive into your computer, you use a cable, right?
Right.
Now imagine the cable that's plugged into your baby.
Oh, wow.
So what if your baby is seeing everything through your eyes, feeling everything through your fingers, tasting everything through your tongue, and listening to everything through your ears in the womb because it's plugged into your hard drive?
Wow.
Goodness.
Cover your ears,
deep
baby.
in there.
Cover your ears, baby.
So if you wouldn't
Cover
watch
your
that
eyes.
show with your child, think of it like this. If you wouldn't watch that show or listen to that song or say that word with your child by your side when they're born, why would you do it while they're sitting there plugged into what you're seeing?
Exactly. Yeah.
Nurturing starts before birth. Like sex starts before the act.
Absolutely.
You know, sacred sexuality begins when you meet that person. That's why the date in the book, I say the date doesn't stop. So it's not conscious dating is always, whether you're married by a piece of paper that owns you or not.
Yeah.
Marriage is only a contract. A relationship, that's why we're all focused. We're all thinking paper. We're thinking all these things. But marriage is a contract, right? The relationship is a date. You're dating.
Right.
Uh-oh, she's getting noise. That's food for thought at the tail end of this. Food for thought to think about as you go forward.
Absolutely fabulous, because it is really food for thought. Dating, because I kind of was, the whole dating thing was just mind blowing for me, because I've been relationship only and up until the last 3 years, and then I decided, okay, no, it's time to be by myself. And the couple of times I ventured out against that, it was like, no, I'm not ready yet. Okay, wait, hang tight, because it just wasn't in alignment. And especially this last time, I go, okay, I'm kind of seeing what I don't want now and getting very specific about that. But really, I went right back to myself again. It doesn't matter what somebody else is doing or what they look like. It matters where I'm at. Where do I sit? It's all about self and self first. Am I understanding their needs? Am I willing to step into their needs? Am I open to my own needs? Am I addressing those?
Right.
All of those things came into play. And so a relationship is that, and it's that ship we're on and we're sailing it and we're working together as a team. And yo, captain, we're shrimp boating, damn it.
We're sinking, Captain. We're sinking.
No, you don't want anybody.
Right.
Don't let anybody in your boat that's putting holes in it.
We're going on a walkabout.
There's an awesome cartoon. There's an awesome cartoon I saw in the New York Post a long time ago. It starts out, there's 3 people on a boat. Then the next frame, they're arguing. The next frame, 2 people are at the edge. The next frame, the boat's up in the air. The 2 people on the edge are up at the top. The next frame, there's a guy putting holes in his end of the boat, trying to sink it so he can sabotage them. And the next frame is, you idiot, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But that's even when you think about the earth, when you think about environmentalism, or when you think about how we live life, everything that you do affects everything else. And we've been minimized in that, even in love, right?
Well, yeah,
so
we're taught 2 dimensions. We're taught 2 dimensions with love, and this profile, and I'm only going to tell you this. And so when you come to meet me and we don't hit it off, it's because I lied.
And my first rule in the book: talk on the phone.
Exactly, talk on the phone, because text you cannot convey. Cadence.
You can't convey, and then there's an energetic resonance. You need to talk. You need to talk. Your words have power.
Text is scary to me. I'm old school. I'm way too old school I'm telling you what. And text, and I agree, because words do have power. And do you want them to be your magical power? They are magical, but we can use them in a black magic sense. If you've read the 4 Agreements, and Don Miguel Ruiz talks about that, and I know you have. I could just tell. Yeah. And so thank you for bringing that up, because you guys talk it out, quit the texting, seriously, communicate with your words. I love that. Your
words are your way, right? It's like when you announce somebody, when you come on the show, you're setting the tone for the show, right? So your words are the way. And that's why so many times, even in the Bible or any other religious book, you hear the word, God said, this happened. So what you're saying, especially to yourself, is who you are.
Yes.
So everything is, because we're processing so much information, so much data every day. You have the choice to program it. You like, think of this. This is your search bar. So what are you going to search? Type it in. Tell yourself what you're searching for. And when you start typing in love consistently, when you start typing in celebration, liberation consistently, everything about your search, those results, it renders those 35,000 hits that you get on Google Drive or on the Google. That's going to all be consistent to what you're searching for.
Keywords are important.
Keywords, right? I mean, we do it every day. That's the funny thing. We do it every day, and yet we still don't do it with our vocalization in ourself. And once we start changing that, it's going to shift. And people are saying, oh, we're waking up. I like to think that we're just remembering. We're actually remembering what we started with.
Yes.
We're going back to that. We're going back to the womb, to the creation station, and we're being one with everything.
Absolutely.
Creation station.
Creation.
I like that. Definitely.
Well, I am going to, it is going on 8:20. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to shut our computers down.
Nice.
I want to just, I cannot tell you, Ryan, how I'm just so humbled and grateful that you've been here. You have been just my heart. You know, what's so funny is just like listening to you, your energy is so incredible. And it's just touched my heart in so many ways. It's being in the presence of that wholeness and oneness and that pure love, that unconditional love. So I want to thank you for being present, for being here, and for everybody that watches this, rewatches this. I hope you are as touched and as blessed as we have been here today. And thank you for joining Cuppa Grata. I hope you will come back again. And I want to connect with you.
I wouldn't be anywhere else. And thank you for having me.
Much love and appreciation.
Thank you.
Keri, you have been delightful. Keri, awesome.
Beautiful conversation. It's always good to put out there.
It really is. And you know what? Confidence is sexy. And when you're one with yourself and you go out into the world and you present that, your best self or your higher self, we won't even say best self, when you just are in accordance with your own tune and you can go out and sing your melody, it's there. It's just waiting.
That's right.
You'll find the right set of ears.
Right.
You'll harmonize.
Because the wrong set will walk away. Right?
Yeah, they will, and that's okay.
It's like when you see like a couple in the park holding hands, like or kissing. Some people, that's atrocious. Oh, PDA, what the heck? And then some people look at that and be like, oh my God, I love that. Yeah, I'm the guy that looks at that and I'm like, oh my God. Look at
me too. I'm a big PDA. Right? I'm affectionate. I'm a hugger. I love touching and sensory, and I'm going to hug you. You're going to get it all.
I hug you from the inside out.
That's right.
Starting hard. She's out.
Yeah.
Love everyone. Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Bye,
Thank
Keri.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Debbie.
Bye.
Au revoir.